War in Gaza continues, obviously.
Yes.
We inform people right now about how ceasefire never happened here throughout those 12 days of war on Iran. The war continued here. The same is happening in Gaza. An average of 100 to 200 people are being killed at those aid distribution.
Well, I think that's the worst part, is that it's not only is it continuing, but they're being killed. Starving people are being killed trying to get food. They're not just like bombing buildings, or they are opening fire on starving civilians.
Hey everybody, this is Laith Marouf from Free Palestine TV. Before we continue with this report, I ask you to press the subscribe button on whatever social media you're watching this on, and to go to our website, freepalestine.video, to donate so we can bring you this content continuously. We are in the Nabata region, just outside Nabata city, on the road to Kafr Dajjal, and there was an attack this morning as the quote-unquote ceasefire between the Zionist Colony and the Islamic Republic of Iran was called. The Zionists went on a rampage in Lebanon, attacking at least 10 different locations. This is one of those attacks. A car carrying a family, father and two of his sons, was attacked with at least 3 missiles. The father is in his early 50s. His sons, one of them is just 18 years old. And we will be doing a tour of the area. And today we will have with us a special guest, Courtney Bonneau, who will also be with us on the locations. We were supposed to meet earlier, but this happened and we changed our location. You got here before us.
Yes.
So describe the scene when you arrived.
When I arrived, the military intelligence were here doing forensics and investigating, and they're actually helpful. They let me take quite a lot of photos, and it's a horrific scene, and I can smell, as I'm sure you can also smell, the scent of death and blood and oil and these things that we've gotten so used to living under occupation.
Well, it's to me, it's the smell of Zionism. Honestly, this is what we can describe it as. And we just saw this older man picking up bones and
Yes.
flesh that was thrown all around the field here and the sidewalks. 2 missiles that we saw, one that is anti-armor and the other is fragmenting. These are at least 2. There's most probably a 3rd missile that was fired on the car, because you see debris of the car before those 2 holes on the street. But how is it as the first day of ceasefire between the Zionist Colony and the Islamic Republic of Iran?
Well, I think the ceasefire is between, well, maybe, is between the occupiers and Iran and not Lebanon. They have never stopped firing in Lebanon, which you know and I know, but maybe everybody else doesn't really know, that this is a daily occurrence. And like Hadi said, this is indeed a massacre of a man and his children. And this is not the only one today. It's only, by 10 a.m., I think 4 people had been killed. The initial death toll here is 3, but I was told by the army that that number could rise. They are out in the field searching for body parts, perhaps a body.
Yeah, one of the passengers was thrown out of the car.
Yes.
There has been 10 raids over Lebanon since the morning. This is just one of them. We're going to try to go visit other ones and also discuss this quote-unquote ceasefire in Lebanon and and in Iran.
Yeah.
We took a stop. Behind us is the valley leading to Marjayoun and Iqlim al-Tufah, the apple region. You've been in the south this whole time during this 12-day war between the Zionists and Iran. Although there hasn't been much news in the West about what's happening in Lebanon, really there was never a stop of bombardment of South Lebanon and other parts. What did you witness in those 12 days that most news have missed?
What I've been witnessing over the last 12 days is nothing really out of the ordinary for South Lebanon. The Israelis have never ceased fire on us, even while they were busy bombing Iran. They're multitasking, you know, they're bombing us and bombing them. So it's typical, unfortunately, daily stuff. Lots of drone strikes. Occasionally, we'll get a massive bombardment like we did last night. Yesterday evening around 6 p.m. I think they bombed 10 or 12 sites. We had the kidnapping of a fisherman from his boat.
On the Naqoura side.
We had the kidnapping of an elderly shepherd in Shabah.
That's the other extreme side.
On the border of Syria, correct. So he was tending to his herd. He was kidnapped and interrogated for over a day. This guy's 78 years old.
Wow.
We also had an incident where satellite imagery showed that the Israelis have been dumping some kind of substance into the water supply over in the Shabah area.
And this is, of course, the main water source for much of the water that comes into South Lebanon. The Golan Heights and the watershed there is almost all the water in Palestine, Jordan, South Syria, and Lebanon come from that watershed. So that shows you that, you know, although they want to steal this water, they also don't want anyone to have it if they can't steal it.
Right.
You know,
very like, if you can't have it, nobody can.
Yes.
Attitude.
It's not like only if I don't steal it, somebody else will. If I don't steal it, nobody else should have it, and they will poison people and their water sources. There was also, obviously, you had the, I think, the good fortune of being in the south while the missiles were being fired by Iran. I mean,
did.
Me and Hadi got the pleasure of seeing it for one night. Yeah, well, okay, Hadi can brag if he wants to, but, you know, it doesn't count if I'm not with him. But, you know, so how was that feeling of, and the people around you?
Yeah, so I'm living at a hotel. It's a hotel that has events quite often. And I can say that the atmosphere was jubilation. People really were feeling, and I myself experienced like a feeling of joy for the first time in a long time. And I feel like in a way I'm losing my humanity because of this. I think we're all losing our humanity a bit because of what the Israelis have been doing.
Because there's no
inevitable.
Justice, and then vengeance is the only thing that we can achieve.
Exactly. So to watch these, I made several videos, I think over 4 nights, and they're just beautiful, like beautiful light shows. I put some classical cello music in the background, and because the people around me were cheering and chatting wildly, so I had to cut the audio. But we all, like the staff at the hotel and me, like we stayed up really late, stayed up into the night, like waiting for this to happen.
Well, we are going to continue and try to reach Hula. There is a story that you covered, and we'll tell the audience about it as we get there.
Great.
So as we're driving, we got updates on the news. Number one is that the Minister of War of the Zionist Colony, Katz, ordered the Zionist military to retaliate to Iran's attacks this morning. And we just heard Emperor Trump
Yeah.
saying that both of Iran and the Zionist colony have breached the ceasefire. So how long do you think this ceasefire is going to last?
I mean, has it lasted at all? Like, not even a couple of hours, huh? Like,
We saw that with the war in Gaza. There was multiple ceasefires that never lasted. We saw it with this quote-unquote ceasefire in Lebanon. We're here to talk about what happened. And of course, it's not going to be different with Iran, it seems like.
no, absolutely won't be. And I actually have a really hard time, like, I struggle to understand the cognitive dissonance that people have when they say, oh yeah, there's a ceasefire, and they don't. Like, can you help me understand this? What is this?
I think, honestly, I am shocked sometimes at how a lot of people have internalized propaganda, and it's very easy to sway them back and forth emotionally. And it somehow I would blame it on the social media experiment, all the psychological warfare that was put into the designing of social media to the situation we're in, where people can't find real sources of information. Primary sources of information are so destroyed, like those Western media or mass media in general is untrustworthy and it makes people even easier prey for.
True, it makes people more susceptible to misinformation and disinformation. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
And there's all that AI content that we're seeing right now.
That's really scary.
I'm disgusted at sometimes for things like, I saw somebody that created some video with the voice of Malcolm X, and I clicked on it for a second thinking that it was Malcolm X, and then I hear the first words, I'm like, no, this is AI, and I got really angry because there's enough speeches by martyr Malcolm X that are pro-Palestinian, that are anti-Zionist, that are anti-imperialist, that most of humanity hasn't heard.
Yeah.
You know, they don't need to fabricate something like this.
Agreed. No, I noticed that at the start of the genocide in Gaza, that there were a lot of AI images produced about the genocide, and I thought, why are people sharing these? They're real life horrors. Like, there are actually tents burning. There's actually a man hooked up to an IV burning. You don't need to make an AI representation of that. Like, show the actual image.
The images from this war have been fantastical. It's like sometimes the images that we're seeing, we couldn't have even imagined.
Yeah.
And so why do you need an AI to imagine something more than that?
Yeah. I think the horror that we're living in is enough.
There's behind us 2 bases of the Zionist occupiers. They're full of human garbage that should be packed up and taken to Europe.
And don't forget the illegal base that's right over there.
And we didn't go up there because last time we did, with you, they sent us a drone immediately.
Yeah, I think that's because the last time I was there, they opened fire on me, even after we had coordinated with Unifil for me to photograph the site.
There was here an attack that happened over the past few days.
Yes.
Tell us about it.
There was a man. He was a beekeeper, and he was tending to his bees, and he was killed by an Israeli drone strike. And this man was a member of Hezbollah. He was also a beekeeper, and he was, like I said in the tweet that I wrote, he is a shining example of humanity. He is fighting for his country, for his land, and he is supporting the local environment. And they murdered him while he was tending to his bees here in Hula.
And that post that you made got a lot of reaction because of how this story resembles those things that you said. You know, the connection to the land, the willingness of the indigenous people of the land to sacrifice themselves, defending the land and growing
maintaining it.
Yes.
cultivating it.
You cannot attack a combatant that you don't like off the battlefield.
Correct.
When they're doing their home, visits or doing their work. Otherwise, every Israeli soldier is a legitimate target in Thailand and or Colombia
Exactly.
when they're doing their R&R.
Yes, exactly. Targeting members of Hezbollah when they're off, not even off duty, it's not wartime. They're not active combatants. So it doesn't matter how high up somebody is, we're not at war. And even during war, if a guy is off duty, he's out of the field, he's with his family, whatever, it is a violation of humanitarian law to execute him.
There was a Reuters documentary done about this martyr beekeeper. I think it was in 2022.
It was in 2022. So I had just searched his name and I found that Reuters actually did quite a long video about his beekeeping and about how he was impacting the local environment here and how he was supporting agriculture here. And what I find interesting is that Reuters didn't report on his death. Even after I used their video in a tweet that got 3.8 million views, they still made no comment about the fact that he was murdered.
And this is a scrap guy.
Yeah.
And it's amazing, by the way, that tone of voice of the scrap collectors anywhere in the Arabic world is the same.
Yeah.
It's like as if they have their own college training for voice to be a scrap
like on
collector.
Spotify and they just play it. Like, I don't know.
Yes. But the martyr with his bees, if people don't understand, this whole area is all these olive orchids. There's other fruit orchids around. Those bees are necessary for the growth of these crops.
Correct.
And we've heard a lot of quote-unquote environmentalists talk about the death, mass death of bees and how that's affecting agriculture, but they don't care, it seems, about...
No, taking care of bees is not just about like the local agriculture either. Taking care of bees is taking care of all of humanity. Without bees, we're fucked. I think beekeepers, this is one of the most noble professions that you can have, and there are many beekeepers here in Lebanon, in this area, in the south.
And there's the bee, the honey that is sold here in Lebanon, especially the mountain honey from the cedars, is very special. The war in Gaza continues, obviously.
Yes.
We inform people right now about how ceasefire never happened here. Throughout those 12 days of war on Iran, the war continued here. The same is happening in Gaza. An average of 100 to 200 people are being killed at those aid distribution.
Well, I think that's the worst part, is that it's not only is it continuing, but they're being killed. Starving people are being killed trying to get food. They're not just like bombing buildings, they are opening fire on starving civilians.
We had also this report that cannot be verified, a study by Harvard that just released yesterday, claiming they had access to all the Israeli military records and the original distribution of population in Gaza, and they calculated, according to them, above and beyond the 60-somewhat thousand that have been declared dead by the medical authorities in Gaza, that there is 378,000 Palestinians under the rubble in Gaza, which brings the number of dead to over 400,000.
If you compare that study with what was studied by the Lancet journal, which was, I think, still...
almost a year ago.
Yeah, it was almost a year ago, and that they gave in their words, a conservative estimate of 180,000 dead, and that was almost a year ago. So I would say that this Harvard study is probably spot on mathematically. I would say that the figure would be, yeah, maybe close
And this
to
is not
750,000.
not counting all the people with chronic diseases.
Yeah, the people that will die.
Diabetes, cancer, others that didn't get any treatment
Right.
over the last 2 years almost now, 21 months. So even if we take just those numbers, forgetting those who could have died from medical neglect and or starvation or others, we're talking about 25% of the population of Gaza. This is the highest percentage of a people being killed, massacred, genocided in the 21st century.
Yes.
And this war is not over yet.
It's not over. It's far from over. How many people were killed today? I think 62 in Gaza?
I think so. I think so. And the day is just
This afternoon.
Afternoon
It's like 2
right
p.m.
now.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see what is going to happen with the Iran Israel bombardment back and forth. In my opinion, I hope Israel doesn't live one day of peace until its dismantlement.
I'm really enjoying the rockets flying over from Iran, so I say keep them coming.
Yes, yes. And so, guys, this was Laith Marouf with our special guest, Courtney Bonneau. You're still watching Free Palestine TV. We are in Hula, right on the border with occupied Palestine. Until we see you next time, I ask you to press the subscribe button on whatever social media platform you're watching this, and to go to our website, freepalestine.video, to donate. And we bid you all a free Palestine.
Bye.